If you're starting a business, it's important to be careful and to be strategic with who you're partnering with. In a lot of cases, it's fine just to start a business on your own, and that has advantages and disadvantages. But if you're in the situation where you are starting a business with a partner, just be careful how you navigate that for a number of reasons. Now, just for starters, going into business with someone is a different dynamic than other forms of relationships with them. So for example, you might be friends with someone and really good friends for a long time, but you know that being friends with them and just maybe going out for meals together, going to movies, playing sports together, that's one thing. But to travel with them, especially for an extended period of time, that's a different dynamic and can create some new challenges in the relationship. Likewise, living with them, becoming a roommate, that creates a different dynamic in that relationship. And I think a lot of friends could find it more difficult to be roommates than just to be friends and not be roommates. So I would say going into business with someone is kind of like that, where you might get along really well as friends, but traveling with them can be challenging, living with them can be challenging. Going into business with them is going to be challenging, regardless of how well you get along, how similar you are, how well aligned your goals are. Operating a business is challenging. I think a lot of businesses fail or business partnerships fail just because of the relationships, people involved not getting along, or not seeing eye to eye on things, or not properly documenting what they've agreed to, or not considering certain outcomes and how they will adjust to those different outcomes. So the first thing there is ask yourself, is this a good person to partner with from a business perspective? Do you feel like you can manage a business with them and make decisions with them and get along? And even when times are tough and there are disagreements and stuff, can you make it through those and remain, healthy business partners? There are going to be disagreements. There are going to be times where things go wrong and maybe someone's taking the blame, but you need to be able to navigate through those situations, just like with a roommate or someone you're married to. Those challenges come up. So in the event that you do decide to move forward with a business partner, it's important to document things, and it would depend too on the legal structure. So if you're setting up a partnership or you're setting up a corporation, I think either way you would probably want an ownership agreement, just to lay out what the owners are responsible for, maybe what they're contributing to the business, how they're getting paid, what happens if one of them wants to leave, what happens if you want to take on a new owner, a new business partner. Just kind of lay out the possibilities, good and bad, just to make sure it's clearly communicated from the start. That's a good way to avoid problems, or at least mitigate problems when they do come up. So you are going to have those difficult conversations, but I think it's easier to address them before they happen rather than address them when they do happen, because if you've already kind of talked about them before they come up, it makes them easier to navigate when they do come up. And now in terms of getting an owner or shareholder contract, depending on the nature of the business and the legal structure of the business, that's something that you could probably write up on your own if you want to, especially if you have a bit of a background in understanding those types of things. If it's something you want more formalized, you can have a lawyer draft up a partnership agreement or a shareholder agreement, just to clearly indicate what all the owners are responsible for and what their obligations are. Now, if you are starting a business with someone and you understand that it might be kind of short term and you might go separate ways in the future, but you still see the value in that, that's okay. In those cases, I would often recommend incorporating. Of course, it depends on the situation, but with incorporating, the business is not so much tied to the human entities. Those owners can just own shares and then sell those shares to get out of the company, sell them to someone else, sell them back to the other owner. So it just gives you more optionality there, where you're not so tied to the business and owners can come and go. So of course, it depends on the situation, but hopefully that was a valuable insight in terms of navigating relationships for business partners. If you got any value from the video, please click like, and feel free to check out the other videos on my channel, where I have over 150 videos on business management and business startup topics.